Yeah, because chocolate milk is great for your voice before, right when you're about to record a podcast, right?
Yeah, I was actually hoping we could do some duets tonight.
Oh,
So get your
all right.
voice nice and covered.
Hold on. Pardon me while I turn on my kettle because it's so goddamn loud and it's ruined so many takes. I could turn it on right now and make some tea to make up for the chocolate milk.
That'd be great. Let me hold on. I'll drink this Mountain Dew while you do that. That'll get my voice
dear
in shape.
God.
They say Baja Blast is really good for the voice.
Uh-huh.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jeff, and welcome to the Sound Judgment Podcast.
Where every episode we'll be discussing all of the important musical topics, from reviews to which member of Motley Crue is the most vile.
I'm gonna judge the officials. I'm gonna judge all the judges. It's gonna take you people years to recover from all my opinions.
Hi, Jeff. Happy New Year.
I was just gonna say, so where do we start? I wasn't prepared for that.
We started January 1st. This is
We
day
did
one.
not. No, we did not.
No, we
No.
did not. We are quite near the end of January, which I think is how it worked out the first time we did a New Year's episode. But you know what? Actually, I think all three times. But you know what? That's fine.
That's fine, and honestly, I get frustrated when people do year in review things that were obviously recorded before the year was over and you didn't have a chance to, really think back on the year. That drives me crazy when people are just like, oh, here's my year in review, January 2nd. No, you had no time to, really look at that.
We
I
put a
hate
few
it.
weeks into it so that we actually can talk about new music in 2024 now.
I know we both look at this kind of thing differently. I know last year, I make a top 10 and whatever. I know you don't typically do that.
Yeah, you're real into it, and I kind of there's nothing I would rather do less than a top 10 or a countdown or something like that.
Dude, I love my lists. I love my lists, man.
I did what you normally do with most of our episodes, where I just organize things into subcategories because I feel like my music taste is so dependent on my mood that what I say is my favorite album of the year right now could change tomorrow when I'm listening to something else, you know?
Oh, no, absolutely. And I completely agree with that. So, I whenever I do, a top 10 or whatever, it's very rarely oh, this is set in stone, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? I don't have a number one album from 2023. I have two albums that I probably listened to the most, is how I'm basing it. And then otherwise, it's 8 or whatever albums that I really enjoyed, and then obviously I also have my little categories, because I'm a sucker for those little categories. I do want to say, though, because we both made a certain prediction many months ago, whenever that was, I don't recall, that Life is But a Dream by Avenged Sevenfold was, in the running for album of the year. I'm curious, now that the year is truly said and done, where does that fall for you? Have you even listened to it since then? Do you still think it was one of the better albums from last year? Was it totally overshadowed? What are your thoughts on that one? Because it is the one that we mentioned previously.
There were a couple that at the moment we were like, this could be a contender. But one of the subsections that I have is actually albums that we reviewed. And I do have those. What I have is 3 sections, the good, the okay, and the bad.
Yeah, okay.
Avenged Sevenfold is in the top 4.
Okay, cool.
Life is But a Dream. I've cooled on it maybe a little, and I don't know if it's my number one at this point, like it was at the time. I think it's held up pretty damn good. I've listened to it a couple times. Your brother pointed out something to me about Avenged Sevenfold's noodling that it gets to me now. You know what I mean?
Oh, what did he do? Why does he ruin things?
No, we were just listening to it in the car, and he was just like, this isn't bad, but I just feel like so many of the solos are kind of emotionless and unfitting wheedling. You know what I mean? That's a valid criticism.
That's a valid criticism, but I also think that's pretty subjective.
Yeah.
Right, that's the whole, you always see the argument online with people who are just oh, but David Gilmour could put more emotion in one note than Yngwie Malmsteen could put in an entire album. And it's maybe? Maybe if that's what you're into? I personally am not really a fan of David Gilmour for the most part. He has a couple good solos, but although ultimately I think he's boring as shit. Like that's not emotion to me, right? Bending a note and going like that's not the definition of emotion to me.
Well, right, but I also I can see what he's saying about.
But
like,
I get where he's going. They're very Wheatley. He's very much like here's a thing that is technically complicated that I can do because I can do it, right?
And I think it also is kind of the Zakk Wylde argument that I make, where it's like, man, this is kind of every solo you do. There were 2 or 3 on that album that changed it up a little, but I can definitely see where he's coming from with them being similar solos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is definitely a style.
The other albums that I had in green were Horrendous, Ontological, Mysterium, Che, Amy, or Dorval the Crowned, Insomnium, Anno 1696. I actually had Baby Metal, the other one, on this one, which was not something I would have predicted when we reviewed it.
No, interesting.
I actually prefer Baby Metal when they're doing anime intros. That's what that album sounded like.
I think I probably even said it then that it either was or it was like becoming, you know, my favorite of what they've ever done, right?
Yeah. Like
they're definitely on the way to losing, like they're not just the gimmicky thing anymore. They're becoming like a full-fledged, this is like legitimately interesting music.
And then rounding out my my list of glowing reviews, I guess, is at the bottom, Shanna Cleveland Manzanata, which was fine. Which was good.
Which was fine. Okay, so not... I guess what you're kind of saying is 2023 didn't exactly wow you.
Well, this is the albums that we reviewed. This is just the ones
we
reviewed right
now. Okay. You're just
because the next section is the fine ones. That's Scar Symmetry, Ben Folds, Jeff Goldblum, Post Malone, and Revolution Saints. We're all fine.
Which were all totally fine albums, but probably not ones that I imagine you're going to go back to with any, like, serious regularity.
And the bad ones I all wrote a little note on for, constructive criticism. Bad Luck Friday, they were so forgettable that I forgot to put them on my 2023 playlist at first, and I only caught it when I was going through the year in review.
Was that really just this last year?
That was a 2023.
Oh god, that feels so much longer ago than that.
That was one of our first ones.
I have not listened to them since. Just I don't think that's a surprise to anybody.
Smashing Pumpkins Autumn, don't forget to audition to be a former member of the Smashing Pumpkins.
No. I'm still mad that Smashing Pumpkins were so prominently placed on my Spotify Wrapped because of how much time I spent listening.
You did have a choice. The album was 33 songs. As soon as you listened to it, it was in your top listen.
Oh my god. They were like my number 4 artist of the year or something like that.
Smash Mouth Mistletoes, I'm going to need to see better results from every band with Smash in their title next time.
What?
Smash Mouth, Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh god, I get it. Oh, who else is in there?
I don't know, but they better do better.
Do you know any other bands with Smash in the name? Oh,
I don't know, but they better
I wish I knew more.
And Sleep Token, Take Me Back to Eden, I just wrote no.
Alright, that doesn't surprise me either. Okay, so I didn't organize quite the same way you did, but I'm going to cover a couple of ones that you did mention here. So I'm going to go back to Avenged Sevenfold, Life is But a Dream. Which I do still have in my, again, in for the most part, no real order, but in my top 10 of 2023, it is still there somewhere. I don't know where I'm going to place it exactly. It's in there.
Do you want to just give us your top 10 in no particular order?
I will do that in a second, but I want to talk about Life is But a Dream real quick here, because there's something I realized over the course of the rest of the year, is it is an album that I have put on and listened to mostly or entirely, in its entirety, a handful more times, but not a single song on there stands on its own in a way that, like, made it onto a playlist or anything. At no point did I... Like, anytime I want to listen to it, I found the full album and hit play. Which is not something I typically do.
Yeah, that's weird for you.
At no point did I think, oh, you know what I really want to listen to is Mattel or We Love You.
That's a really good point.
That never happened, and that is odd for me in particular.
Yeah.
So it did fall some, because I was questioning if it was going to be, notably, not. I mean, again, I'm not picking a top number one, but like, was it going to hit that top tier of the top couple albums? And it didn't. It lost some traction with me as the year went on.
Interesting that we both kind of feel that way.
Other ones that we talked about, I do have What Matters Most by Ben Folds. That one, I don't think my opinion on it really changed a whole lot, other than the songs I really like, I like even more now, and the songs I was more meh or didn't like, I dislike even more now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I find myself listening to, like, Winslow Gardens pretty regularly. Like, that's become one of my, like, I want to listen to Ben Folds, let's hunt down Winslow Gardens. And Christine from the 7th grade, I think I was really mixed on, and I actually do really enjoy it, that song now. Otherwise, my top 10 is otherwise things that I mentioned in passing, or we didn't talk about at all. So, we've got Brian Setzer, The Devil Always Collects, which I did mention. I was on one hell of a rockabilly kick for a few months at the end of the year there, and that definitely stuck out. I know we mentioned Sky Hill, the album Out in the Moonlight.
Yeah.
Which I still am thinking, other than, it's gonna fall in that category of, the highs are really high, the lows are not bad, but they're not, they're forgettable.
That's kind of how I feel about that one too. I feel like when it first came out, I was like, this is a possible album of the year, and now I'm not sure.
I don't think I ever was going to put it, again, in that top tier, but I thought it was going to make, I mean, even just the thing is, like, some of the songs, like, I love, and even though it was released well before the album, like, it was, a single on its own, like, I love the song Howling at the Moon. And I've loved Fireflies for, oh my god, when did that come out? 2012 or 2014 or whatever?
Jeff, single recording or new recording?
I actually almost exclusively listen to the new recording now.
Okay.
But ultimately, the song is roughly the same.
Yeah.
But I that still, I think, is a wonderful song. And then, like, The Last Domino, I think, is a great song. I think Quiet the Lions is a great song. And then the rest of it is not bad. I have my Sky Hill playlist that sometimes just runs, and it's all good. Others in my top 10 that we did not talk about at all. So she goes by, it's JVNA. I think she pronounces it Jenna. I've heard other people say it's Jaina. She's another one of my DJ singer artists.
Is this another Russian you found?
No, she's not Russian. No, this is another one of my, I know last year I had, Little Boots and Alice in Wonderland both made my, like, top 10. This is another one of those. She's an EDM artist. She's a DJ. Yeah, Little Boots.
What a great name.
She's a DJ, EDM artist. She's a singer. Her new album, Play With You, is really, really great. She's fantastic. I also have KX5, which is Cascade and Deadmau5. It's a collaboration between them. So again, we have another EDM album in here, which, again, I never made you listen to because it just doesn't seem like it's going to be really worthy of conversation, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, we find a way.
We do, but I'm not going to force it, because I can't imagine it's going to strike you either super good or bad. I just don't think it would make for a great conversation. So there was really no advantage to that.
I got, my next section is Old Folks Rockin', which I know is a favorite of
yours. That's on mine too. I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Otherwise, I also have an album called Badlands by a group called Magic Sword. They're another, like, kind of synthwave group, if you're familiar with them.
Well, I actually have them on one of my lists. Do you want to guess what list they're on?
Wait, do I know what all your lists are, or no?
No, this is a wildly specific list, but you'll laugh when you hear them.
I have no clue what you could possibly call that.
There's a sub-list I have here called Why Is Your Band Name So Much Heavier Than Your Music?
Nice!
I have Magic Sword, Power Wolf, White Reaper, Gatekeeper, Night Demon, and Blood Ceremony, which is the only one I wrote a note for, and it says, this is a great Jethro Tull album.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Yeah, no, Magic Sword is not the power metal band that they sound like they're gonna be.
No.
At all. Oh, that's funny.
And I love that Powerwolf is a power metal band, but they just sound like they should be playing like black metal or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Anyway, just a couple more here that made it into my top 10. There is I've probably made you listen to her in some context before. Her name's Hiromi Yuhara. She is a jazz fusion keyboardist pianist. She's been in a bunch of projects over the years. The most recent one is called Sonic Wonder. The album is called Sonic Wonderland. So again, if you're into her specific breed of jazz fusion-y craziness, it's a phenomenal album. It's a lot more relaxed than a lot of her other music is, but it's a really great album. And then I have my top 2. Like, these albums got so much play from me.
Okay.
And that is Unicorn by Gunship.
Okay.
Who are probably not really that far away from, like, Magic Sword. They're definitely in that synthwave realm, right?
We've talked about Gunship. I don't think we reviewed it, but I think you had me listen to something in reference to something else that we listened to.
You know what? I think you're right. We listened to something that reminded me of one of the little motifs they use.
3/4?
Maybe. That's possible. And then one that I knew I was enjoying this album for quite a while, and I didn't make you listen to it. Just so there were always other things that I thought were more relevant to get into. But that is Weed Killer by Ashnikko.
Okay.
Do you have any clue who Ashnikko is?
The name sounds familiar, but that might just be from you talking about them in the past.
It's a her. It's one person.
Okay.
And this would be a perfect example, and I'm going to ruin it now because we're not going to do it. This would be a perfect example of I think you would hate absolutely every second of this.
Yeah, I love Torment.
So I never got around to it, but it is such a good album. And it also ties me back to another thing that we've talked about where me, in my suburban white boy prudishness.
You can do this.
No, I can't. Prudishness. That's a weird word. There are lyrics that have a tendency to make me uncomfortable. And this has been a thing that we've talked about a few times. So over the past year or so, that brand of overly crude lyric has really grown on me.
Oh.
And Ashnikko is a queen of being overwhelmingly awkward in that way.
Okay.
And I absolutely adore this album. It is so good. It is so ridiculous. It has, like, hints of angry poppy in there scattered around. But for the most part, it's just, like, a really awkward, uncomfortable, almost hip-hop-ish album. She's really good at just being awkward and uncomfortable. And God, it's just such a good album, though. It's one that I actually am still going to over and over again in the past couple weeks here in January. Like, this album has become a mainstay of my listening to.
Did you see what dropped just shortly before we started recording?
No.
Poppy dropped a new single with Bad Omens.
Really? No, I did not see that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good timing then.
VAN, I think it's short for Violence Against Nature. Violence Against Nature.
Okay.
So there you go.
All right, well, okay, well...
I haven't really had a chance to listen. It, like I got a notification about it just before we started streaming.
I gotcha. Do you want to get into the old dudes rocking?
I have old folks rocking, because I even got a couple chicks in this year.
Oh, because I actually had them in a separate category called old ladies rocking. But okay, let's do old folks rocking.
That's segregation, sir.
Let's do old folks. Well, no, the thing is, the old ladies rocking, there's also other things they have in common.
Okay.
There's a whole other theme there.
Okay. Well, you know what? We probably have the same ones, but it's fine. We can segregate them if you want. Old folks rocking. My top bands for old folks rocking. Overkill Scorched, because Bobby Blitz sounds like he did in 1985. God damn it.
Okay, so they're definitely in that list as well for me too. The thing is with Overkill is I don't think they'd ever release an album again that could make like a top 10 for me, just because Overkill is Overkill, right?
Yeah.
It has been since the 80s that they've done anything that like really is, or I guess maybe 1989 with Years
Well,
to Come.
90s they did that transition to groove, and then they came back a couple years ago.
Yeah, but ever since then they haven't done anything that stands out to me beyond, yeah, all of this is good.
I was gonna say the thing that stands out is the quality that they put out over so many new albums. Even if it's a little samey, there hasn't been a bad or even mediocre one yet.
No, they are consistently good.
Yeah.
But ever since Under the Influence and the Years of Decay, those two albums really stand out to me with the variety of songs on them, which they haven't really done as much since. But again, they are consistently very good at what they do. So yeah, they're topping my list of old dudes rockin', except for of course Brian Setzer, who I already acknowledged.
Yeah, you love your Brian Setzer.
Dude, I do. He's so good.
Alice Cooper Road, I have for some good old dudes rockin'.
It's a good old dudes rockin'. It's not my favorite work of his either.
No, that's another one where it's like old dudes rockin' this year was a decent showing. No one blew my mind this year for old dudes rockin', but what was solid was good.
Yeah. Okay.
And with that, I will say Metallica 72 Seasons gets a lukewarm thumbs up.
Yeah, again, we didn't really talk about it in depth at any point, not even off air. Like we really just like didn't discuss that album together at all, did we?
No, there was a point where we brought it up, I think, a little, but we were just like, I don't even want to talk about it right now.
I have nothing super crazy to say. It is a totally fine, serviceable album from Metallica.
I have the exact same thing that I've had to say since Death Magnetic, which is at their core, there's a bunch of good songs here, but they need someone in the studio to be like, this song doesn't need to be 8 minutes.
Yeah, they need to get rid of the yes men, and they need to hire some no men.
Not every song needs to have the same intro. Anyway,
no. Who else is an old dude?
So now we're getting into not necessarily bad, but pretty good. Pretty good. Iggy Pop, Every Loser. Pretty good.
It's Iggy. I mean, I actually almost made you listen to that. I could have prepared a lot more to say about it, but like, let's face it, it's Iggy.
It's Iggy. It's
an Iggy album.
I'm gonna bring up a band that I don't normally talk much about or generally care for. I'm not especially a Rolling Stones guy, but the new album dropping was kind of an event I had to pay attention to a little bit. And
wait, why? I'm curious. Why do you feel you had to pay attention to it?
I don't know. They were talking about it at Christmas, and I was like, "There's a new Stones album?"
Yeah. As absolutely wild as that is.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Not only because I thought, like, I mean, of course they're still around as a touring band, but they don't need to record. Why would they? But also, I mean, like, we can't even get there's so many bands we can't get a fucking album out, and then no one asked for a Stones album when we got one. And not only that, but I didn't hear any hype leading up to it. It just was out one day, as far as I know.
It just all of a sudden existed.
Yeah. So I'm not a Stones guy, but what I've heard of it sounds fine. It's better. I like a lot of it better than I like the average Stones song.
So it's funny you mentioned that, actually, because I just wrote a review for that, like, literally earlier today.
Okay.
I was writing reviews, like short reviews for a handful of albums. So first off, the album's called Hackney Diamonds, which I believe I am told is a slang term for like a broken window, right? Like it's broken glass.
Okay.
Sorry, give me a second. I want to pull up my review here because I think it covers it up beautifully. When you do the same thing for 60 years, you get pretty good at it. Let's be real, no one is listening to Hackney Diamonds as their first Rolling Stones album. If you're already a fan of the Stones' particular style of blues-based rock, then this is more of the same. Don't expect anything new or particularly unique here. But if you like what the Stones have been doing, pretending the disco era isn't real, then this is a very solid addition to their discography. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars.
That's
as someone who is a fan of their style of blues-based rock.
Yeah.
It's a really fun album, and they sound the same, just with higher production quality, because let's face it, Mick could never actually sing.
No.
Whether he was 20 or 80, it doesn't matter. He sounds about the same.
And they're all being preserved by all the drugs and alcohol they did back in the day. They're all just like mummified on the inside. They're gonna live forever.
Yeah, I honestly, again, I didn't know it was coming. It just all of a sudden,
it was there.
Boom, there it is. But I actually really enjoy it. Like, I think it's a really solid album for what it is.
That's pretty good. I got Saxon, More Inspirations. Not that it's bad, but it's a cover album, and you know, I still don't think Biff Byford sounds too bad. But if you're gonna do Man on the Silver Mountain, I gotta compare you to Dio, man. Come on.
And how did they do?
It's fine. Did you listen to the new Saxon album?
I don't think so, actually.
Well, remember a couple years ago when we listened to Biff Byford's solo album?
Yeah.
Would you want to hear him sing Man on the Silver Mountain?
Maybe?
That's about right.
Okay. I mean, maybe?
It's alright. It's alright, but it's one of those cover albums where, like, the songs that I liked on it, I'm never gonna like more than the originals, and I'm kind of just glad that they put out a new album this year that I can focus on.
I'll say, like, they have, like, not a cover, like a new album out.
Yeah. No, I might go see them next year.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Or later this year.
Yeah, I have the new album out. I have it on my, my 2024 playlist. I have not given it a fair listen yet because it just came out as we're recording this.
I love that someone like I don't remember word for word what it was, but one of the clickbait reviews is like, the new Saxon album isn't going to revolutionize the face of music. I'm like, they never were going to. It's Saxon.
I don't think that was ever their intention.
It's like it's something like it doesn't revolutionize the face of music, but it's a solid addition to like whatever. I'm like, Biff Byford's 73. He's not revolutionizing anything.
Nope. No, he's not.
But anyways, yeah, it's a 73-year-old Biff Byford singing Man on the Silver Mountain and Gypsy by Uriah Heep, and it's fine. It's fine.
Okay,
it's fine.
Cool.
It's no... What else is next on the list? KK's Priest, The Sinner Rise Again. Shit, that's a shitty comparison.
I actually really enjoy that album. I'm not gonna lie.
It's not bad. It sounds like people who don't know how to write very well heard Judas Priest and decided to cover it.
I mean, kind of. It really shows that KK was not the composing force in Judas Priest. He is one hell of a talent.
Yeah.
But he was not the one writing their, like, creating their most unique works.
And I don't think Tim Owens has been a writer in any of the bands he's been in.
That I wouldn't know, but that wouldn't surprise me either, actually. He is a phenomenal frontman, though.
He's a great frontman, but I also just feel like if he could write, he'd be writing his own songs by now. He's had so many bands that he's just not in anymore.
But I did send you that, Bloodstock. There's a video, their full set at Bloodstock. Oh my god, it is one of the most amazing live sets I've seen in so long.
Jeff,
are phenomenal.
We're gonna see KK's Priest. You just gotta buy the tickets because I bought the Judas Priest tickets.
I know. We're gonna
go see both priests.
Within, like, what? Just, like, a little over a month from each other?
Yeah, like a month apart. It's going to be incredible. And then later on this year, I'm seeing Iron Maiden. It's going to be a great year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, KK's Priest, no, I think it's a really good album. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a really good album. But, like, it does show that compositionally they are a few steps below Judas Priest, right?
You know what else got into the okay albums? Speaking of all these classic,
are we still talking old dudes?
Singers, okay, all that stuff is Paul Gilbert's The Dio album.
I
love Karaoke Dio. It's great.
I don't get me wrong. I love Paul Gilbert. Love Paul Gilbert. I don't care about slide playing, like slide guitar. I'm not a slide guitar fan, which I know also like confuses people for how much I'm into blues. I'm just not. It doesn't do anything for me. And for better or worse, Paul's gotten really into slide playing over the past maybe 10 years by now.
Okay.
And it just doesn't do it for me. I think it's a fine album. I appreciate that he did it as like this really cool tribute, but it just doesn't. I have no interest.
Actually, at this point, I want to fill you in on how I came to some of these, some of these albums, because I didn't have time all throughout the year to sit down and listen to them all the time.
Okay.
So over the last like month and a half, what I've done is I've taken my 2023 playlist and I've just shuffled it frequently.
Oh yeah.
So it was always nice when a Paul Gilbert song came on, because I could just use it as karaoke time and I wouldn't have to like take anything in. It was
a nice little break.
Yeah, maybe that's like, you know, making me more biased towards the album, but it was great to just be like, you know, I'm sitting there, I have to like do, you know, think, you know, I have to think like I'm gonna make a Metallica review or something, and then I'm you know, it's just I can just be like, there's a lady I know who needs because I don't really know the words. I just, you know,
I just
right from her hand. Yeah, you get more into it when you remember those words, and then you kind of mumble off when you forget that line.
Oh my god.
You know what it's like to be in the car.
Yes.
Winger 7 made it. They made it to the yellow.
Oh, good for them.
They did pretty all right. You know who didn't? Again, I have notes for everyone that I wrote bad things about.
Okay.
U2 Songs of Surrender, because I didn't realize this was 4 discs of re-recorded music, and it's the most
good.
It's the most unwelcome thing U2 has done to me since that time they forced everyone to have their new album for free on iTunes.
I am so glad they made your old dudes rockin' list, because this is in my category that I call "Who the fuck asked for this?"
Dude, Bono sounds like shit.
Okay, so to clarify, Songs of Surrender is a 40-song, like, kind of compilation, but it's basically Bono and the Edge re-recording, like, a bunch of their famous songs.
It's like 40 licks if they re-recorded it so it sucked.
It sounds like bad open mic night at a coffee shop. Bono sounds like absolute garbage.
Oh my god, he's awful.
And the arrangements are entirely uninspired. It is 40 songs. It is like, what, almost 3 hours long of just
awful.
Absolute trash.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it is insulting. And this is, the worst part is, this is coming from someone who enjoys U2.
Yeah.
I joke about hating U2, I don't. No Line on the Horizon is a phenomenal album, and I know that that's also an unpopular opinion, because most people say they stopped being good in the 80s or whatever, but like, no! They were good into the 2000s.
I can appreciate some U2, but I can't get past the people in the band.
I mean, I just let it. They are who they are. I let that go.
I can appreciate it. When it's on, I don't mind it. I've listened to the Joshua Tree a couple times. They have some good stuff. But
October, the Joshua Tree, Rattle and Hum is a great album.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, All That You Can't Leave Behind is a solid album. How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb, we pretend it doesn't exist.
Oh my god.
Because that ruins the line straight up to No Line on the Horizon, which is, I think, their best album. And then they're not really, there's nothing after that I would recommend.
And then they start giving out their bad albums for free on iTunes.
And then they did that thing.
And then they can't count to 4.
Well, actually, in all fairness, I think No Line on the Horizon was the one that they gave out for free on iTunes.
I don't know.
I think that's the one, because it's from 2009. But I really like that album. Doesn't change the fact that Songs of Surrender is absolute fucking garbage.
Yeah, that was not good.
No. Understatement. It's horrible. It's a joke.
This is one of yours. I got the Meat Puppets camp songs.
Yeah!
This one isn't for me, though. It's the Meat Puppets just camping on, or jamming on goofy camp songs.
Yeah!
It's worth noting. It's worth noting how their version of Amazing Grace is like the worst ever recorded by anyone.
There is no way in hell they were sober while recording any of this album.
Yeah.
And it's kind of exactly what I want and expect from the Meat Puppets. It's fun. It really is just like, take these total lunatics and just like put them around a fire, give them some equipment, there you go.
It's also kind of disingenuous for me to put it on Old Dudes Rockin', because these are previous live recordings from back in the day, I believe.
Well, yeah, but still, it's a fun mix. I actually forgot that it is a compilation, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just live tracks throughout the years. I think they just
I actually didn't even think of that, because I just kind of like, I listened to it in its entirety once, and then like I periodically go back and just like, this is fun. We're gonna put this on.
Dead Milkmen, Quaker City Quiet Pills.
I don't think I've ever seriously listened to the Dead Milkmen.
Well, I think some of their old stuff is fun. They've always been kind of stupid and silly, and maybe sometimes a little political. But this album is one of those things where even if I agree with your message in some respect, it's so fucking preachy that I just don't want it.
Okay.
The opening track is called "Grandpa's Not a Racist, He Just Voted for One," and it really doesn't get much more interesting or creative from there.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, and then Blink-182, One More Time, I wrote Please No More Times.
No, I refuse to even put that shit in my playlist of 2021 albums, which does in fact include U2. I just try to acknowledge they don't exist.
I also want to just, this is a side section almost to Old Dudes Rocking. There's 3 of them, and they're all fine. They're all fine. This is fine albums by bands that are basically cover bands with one original member.
Okay, that's awfully specific.
Uriah Heep, Chaos in Color, because even though they only have one member from the 70s, they do have 2, including the singer, that have been around since the 80s, so good for them.
Okay, alright.
Metal Church, Congregation of Annihilation. The album's fine, but I don't even know what Metal Church is anymore, because the only member who was like a founding member wasn't in the band for 3 of their most famous records, and 2 of their singers have like died. So maybe just call it a day.
Okay.
Tigers of Pantang, Bloodlines, which I wrote nothing for, so there you go. And Immortal War Against All, which I just wrote. I mean, it's a solo project now, so.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anyone else in Old Dudes Rockin'?
That's about it. That's all my
Okay.
old dudes are.
Who
else have you been watching rock?
I don't think I have anyone you didn't cover as far as Old Dudes Rockin'.
Yeah, I saved my old chicks because you wanted to.
So why don't we move on to the old ladies, and let's also bring into another from my category of who the fuck asked for this, is why did Dolly Parton release a really long cover album?
And then release it again.
What?
Because there's a 2024 remaster with bonus tracks. It's longer.
Do the bonus tracks include more of the people who sang the original song? Because that's the
hope
obvious highlight. As I think we've addressed before, Dolly Parton released an album called Rockstar. I want to throw this out there. Dolly does not need my approval to do anything. Dolly has been music royalty for like 50-some years. Dolly can do whatever the hell she wants as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, that's
but
true.
This album is all covers of rock songs, half of which feature the person who originally sang it. Because what everybody needs is another recording of Sting singing, I'm sorry, I drew on Every Breath You Take.
See, I kind of said that. I kind of said that when it dropped, and you kind of poo-pooed that opinion, though, I thought.
No. I didn't notice it when you mentioned it because I hadn't listened to it yet when we first talked about it.
Oh, okay.
You made me realize that that's what it was, and then I was like, oh no, you're right. Like, Debbie Harry sings Heart of Glass. Surprise!
Yeah, it's not like a couple of the songs have like the original singer doing backing vocals. It's like every song has the singer, the original
it's like
singer
half the album.
Yeah.
And the other half, I mean, like, there's Peter Frampton singing Baby, I Love Your Way.
Yeah.
And then the other half, where it's a person who wasn't involved in the original recording, none of it is inspiring. None of it is unique. With the exception of maybe Chris Stapleton and Dolly Parton doing Night Moves.
Well, I have
like
great
that's
news.
that's not the worst thing ever, but every other step of the way just is dumb. And I think I did mention this before, that I love that she, Dolly is so counterculture when it comes to being the country star from Nashville, and yet she projects herself as very progressive, and yet she teamed up with Lizzo, who was in a lot of shit at the time. She teamed up with Kid Rock? Like, what the hell is this?
Hey, but you know what? Her and Rob Halford is art.
It's not. It's a really boring... It's really boring.
It's beautiful.
It's not. It's an interesting mix to have the two of them together, but it's... What song was that? Bygones. It is a completely uninteresting recording.
I was moved. Anyways, great news. You can put it on your 2024 playlist, too, because as of January 19th, it was re-released with a whopping 39 tracks.
I will do no such thing.
39.
I want to look at what else is on it, though. Hold on. Why is there a cover of Jolene? That's her own song. What is this? Who asked for this? Oh, okay, I didn't see it. Okay, yeah, there is a featured artist there. What? Who did this? No one wants this. Chris, while we're on the topic...
I'm buying 2 copies.
No. But while we're on that exact topic, do you by any chance know who Anne Margaret is?
No. I feel like if I say something, I'll have the wrong answer.
Let's go. No. I mean, you very well may not. I don't have a clue if you have a clue who this is or not. She was in Bye Bye Birdie. She was in Viva Las Vegas, like movies from the 60s.
Yeah.
What else was she in that might be... I don't remember if there was anything else. She was in, apparently, a movie version of Taxi. I didn't know she was in this. Whatever. Anyway, old singer movie star. So she released an album called Born to Be Wild, which is cover songs of rock songs featuring classic rock artists.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And this happened before Dolly's. This is from April, and it's the exact same concept. Now in this case, it's not like the people who sang the song originally, but it is absolutely no better. It is just as dumb. I mean, Rock Around the Clock with Joe Perry. I don't think anyone needed this or anyone asked for this, but it's there. Why Do Fools Fall in Love with Robin Ford? Like, it is just as bad. Oh, Born to Be Wild with the Fuzz Tones.
Oh.
It's so bad. It is just as... Actually, no, it's not just as bad. It's worse. So, there's another one. So did I steal... Well, okay, did I steal your thunder here? What else did you have?
No, go ahead.
No, those were my two that I want... Those were my two that I wanted to acknowledge.
No, I was going to say that there was a perfectly fine Doro album that came out that is not a series of covers with featured artists, but there are 2 covers with a featured artist, and it's Rob Halford, and one of them is Living After Midnight, and the other one is Total Eclipse of the Heart. So if you want Rob Halford and Doro doing a cover of Total Eclipse of the Heart, that's there. You can just have it.
You know, Doro is like she shows up in my like recommended, you know, Spotify DJ is like, hey, I know some artists and I think you might like everything, whatever. She shows up for me all the time. I am not sure I've ever listened to her, but I look at her album covers and think like this looks fun. Like this all looks so fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I've ever listened to her.
I mean,
but I'm looking at this and I feel like I need to.
I don't... See, me too. I feel like I don't have a strong opinion. I mostly know her through, like, she's featured on, like, a lot of those old bands. Like, Lemmy hung out with Doro a lot. Like, all of those, like...
Wow, and she's been around since the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, because here...
Chris Caffery was one of her guitarists.
I had no idea. I feel like I missed so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, force... Oh my god, how do you say this word? M-A-J-E-U-R. Force majeure?
Yeah, force manure.
Yeah, exactly. Sure, let's go with that.
Because before this, she was in a band called Warlock, and that's what I know more of.
Do I know them?
You might.
I don't know
Witches.
I don't know if I know them.
Warlock, I think you would like.
Okay, I will have to keep that in mind.
Her solo stuff, I don't know quite as much about, but yeah, because she's been around since like the first...
Since 1984.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Oh god, I didn't realize she's been around for that.
And,
I mean, again, not that I know who she is, but I didn't realize she's been around for.
Oh yeah, she's like
40
she
years.
hung around with like Dio and Judas Priest. So she was like she was known as like the only chick in metal at the time. She was she hung around Lemmy and Wasp and all those 80s bands.
Huh. Alright, I feel like I've missed a lot and I'm gonna have to get myself caught up here. So don't mind me, I'm gonna be doing that deep dive sometime soon, I think.
Jeff, do you want that to be our next deep dive?
It actually could be. I'm cool with that.
Cool, because we've kind of said that we want to do something like that. And
That's
it might
perfect.
be Doro.
We're looking into Doro. The life of Doro.
Well, what we'll do is we'll pick a few like key albums and like the first Warlock album, probably the first solo album, and then just like a couple of the best reviewed ones or the ones people say, because there's no fucking way we're gonna do a discography. She has too many albums.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think there's a lot here that I don't know if I'd ever be able to get around to all of it.
Yeah. And do you have Sharon Your Old Chicks Rockin'?
No, I covered mine. They were both the cover albums that nobody asked for.
You can put her in because that's another old woman doing covers. You just throwing it out there.
No.
Okay.
How about another cover album that nobody asked for?
Okay.
There's
a lot of those every year.
Did you listen to the Dark Side of the Moon Redux?
No.
That Roger Waters did. Do you know what it is?
Is this like where they like use some of the original tracks and they add more tracks to it and it sounds like shit?
Basically, yeah. Roger Waters took the original album, because it's his, right? That's one of his, I'm assuming. He took the original Dark Side of the Moon album, he re-recorded it, and he just made it worse in every imaginable way.
But does it like uses the original tracks on top of of like new recordings or no?
No, not that I remember there being. No, it's like all re-recorded new stuff, and it's just so dumb.
Cause okay, so this is I was listening. I wanted to listen to Animals the one night, right? And there's the 2018 remix, and I was like, whatever, it's the remix. Like it's gonna be a new mix, but it should be the same songs, right? And they added tracks, and I think it sounds like shit now. Like they added like guitar parts under previous part. I just don't like it. I don't care for it. Maybe it's just me like being like, no, it's supposed to sound this way. But I didn't care for it.
All right. Do you want to move on, or do you want to do another album, another cover album that no one asked for?
I always want you to do another cover album that no one asked for. This is like 8.
Chris, did you listen to Dimmu Borgir's Inspiratio Profanis?
A little bit.
Oh, you didn't listen to all of it in its masterful glory? Are you telling me you missed their cover of Perfect Strangers?
No, I didn't miss that one.
Oh, you did listen to that one?
I listened to that one. Don't worry.
Can I
listened to Perfect Strangers. I listened to Black Metal. I listened to Burn in Hell. I listened probably a couple others.
Well, it's only 8. It's only 8 songs long.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I specifically don't remember there being a song called Dead Men Don't Rape, so I know that was one I didn't listen to.
Yeah, I don't know what the original one of that was anyway.
Yeah.
What really matters is Perfect Strangers, and by that I mean I am so tired of these like overly serious metal bands. They want to pay tribute to like the people who got them into metal, so they want to cover Deep Purple. Everybody covers Child in Time or Perfect Strangers. I want someone to cover one of the Deep Purple stupid tracks, right? Like I want Dimmu Borgir to do Hard Lovin' Man.
You get Highway Star a lot. You get Highway Star a lot.
Yeah, you get Highway Star a lot. Yeah. But like I want Flight of the Rat.
Yeah, Opeth did a really good Soldier of Fortune, but man, maybe Opeth should do something stupider.
I want someone to do Flight of the Rat.
Flight of the Rat. All right,
like
Jeff has his request in.
Like that's, I'm just so sick of this.
If you could, so okay, let's just say that you're the guy who gets to call in the favors for the tribute to Deep Purple album, right? Who you calling for Flight of the Rat?
Devin Townsend.
Devin Townsend? That's a good one. He'd be really goofy with it.
I think he'd be perfect to like have fun with such a goofy song.
He has the perfect mix of talent and stupidity. That's a good pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I didn't know if maybe you'd want like another very serious band, like another band who put out a great album this year, like if Primordial were to cover Flight of the Rat.
Okay, I mean going back to my actual point was like, yeah, I would actually love like a serious metal band to just like suck it up and admit that they enjoyed Deep Purple and not just the like, ooh, look at us tracks. Like,
yeah,
admit that you were into some of their goofy stuff about girls, right? Come on. I'm not asking anyone to cover Deep Purple songs from like the 2010s. But like there's other songs on In Rock.
Are there?
Yes.
Wow.
I
thought it was a single.
Chris, I think I'm out of bad cover. No, I'm not. T-Pain.
Oh, shit.
T-Pain released
You
a
didn't
cover
like that
album.
War Pigs?
No. The thing is, it's not that I didn't like it. I'm just saying no one asked for it.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
But then it got weirder because T-Pain then released a live performance of that album.
I didn't know that part.
It just came out at the end of December, which again, this is why I go crazy when people do their year in review so fast. They would have missed On Top of the Covers live from the Sunrose, which has the best recording of Don't Stop Believin' ever recorded.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
Well, I mean, the fact that the song sucks.
Yeah, I was just saying, it doesn't help that you fucking hate
but
that
also,
song.
but also, like, I mean, his dude's got soul. Like,
Yeah.
T-Pain is fantastic at what he does when he's doing it well. His recording of Summertime is awesome. His Don't Stop Believin' is just incredible. Stay With Me, again, another one that he does better than the original, I think. Like, it's so good. Do I think War Pigs was a little weird? Yeah. But it was fine. I'm gonna let it go. No one asked for this, but it was good. But it was good.
Let me ask you this. When T-Pain named the album On Top of the Covers, do you think he had to, like, run a Google search for Under the Covers and find out that there was a band called Ninja Sex Party? On Top of the Covers just doesn't make sense as an album title. It sounds like he had to pick the second choice.
Well, damn, I don't know. That actually would be really funny if he was like, or if he pitched the idea, like, listen, I got it.
What if we call it Under the Covers?
Under the Covers. And then someone has to, like, some guy in a meeting has to go like, we probably can use it, but I want you to know that was used not that long ago for a covers album. And it was the same joke that you're making.
Yeah, it's like, and then they reused it 2 other times, so...
And then they did it 2 more times. So you would now be the 4th major thing called Under the Covers. No, it's I don't really understand the studio album, but the live album is really good. I don't know who his band is either, but man, they are stellar.
That's good to hear. I'll have to listen to more of it. I've only heard the War Pigs cover.
No, 100% you need to listen to it.
That one kind of slipped
legit.
past me. That one kind of slipped
legit.
past me, and I'm gonna put it retroactively on the 2023 playlist.
Okay, Chris, I am now out of dumb covers.
Great. So anyways, other bands put out music. Some of it was good. Let's talk about that. What else did you like?
So one of my go-to artists who I've mentioned numerous times, and again, he's not something I'm ever going to make you listen to because there's not much to say, but he is a electronic keyboard synth player. His name is Anders Enger Jensen. He releases albums constantly. Like, he's one of those.
I love his name. I'll say that.
Anders Enger Jensen. Yeah, he's... Oh god, I feel so bad. Because I don't want to say what country I thought he was from and then realize I'm wrong. So I'm going to pretend I didn't say that.
So anyway.
But he released Retro Grooves Volume 5. I think you get the idea. It's a bunch of synth music that sounds like it's from the 80s. It's groovy, it's fun. He's really damn good at what he does. He is he has no bad albums. But he kind of is like a one-trick pony. He does his thing, he does it extremely well, and then he does it again. And again. And again. It's just what he does.
Yeah. Every genre got its Motorhead. It's AC/DC.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
He's one of a handful in his little world. He's fantastic.
Right.
I love what he does. I mean, he also actually released 2 albums last year. The other one is just called In Space, which I actually always forget about because I just kind of put on the Retro Grooves albums. They're all good. In the world of jazz, I already mentioned my girl Hiromi.
Mm-hmm.
But also there's an album called Phoenix by Lakeisha Benjamin, who apparently I have a thing for saxophone players who also sing. Grace Kelly is one of my most listened to artists of all time.
Weird
Another
kink,
saxophonist
okay.
who sings. Yeah, it's a little weird, but it's a thing. So Lakeisha Benjamin, but she's a lot more funky. Lakeisha Benjamin is badass.
She got the funk. She knows about the funk.
She knows about the funk.
That's where you find the funk.
She is incredible. Phoenix is an absolutely badass album. And then I have to throw this out there. A buddy of mine from college, Stephen Philip Harvey, is on a roll releasing music lately. Most specifically, he released an album called Elemental and another album called Sphinx. He is a saxophone player and composer. He does not really sing though, so we're losing my kink streak apparently.
Well, I'm glad that you're not attracted to your friend in that way.
He is phenomenal. He's just one of those guys who, like, he's a couple years younger than me. I met him in college. He was absolutely incredible then, and that was in 2009. And, like, he has just gotten better. Both are absolutely wild albums. Sphinx is a little more, I'm gonna say, rowdy, I think rowdy is a good word. Sphinx is a little more of an intense album. Both are absolutely incredible, though, and those have taken up quite a bit of my listening as well. No offense, Steven, probably not as much as Lakeisha Benjamin, but they're both up there.
Yo, we propping up our friends. Listen to Owlbear, Chaos to the Realm. If you're only going to listen to one power metal album this year, make it Owlbear.
Owlbear is also legitimately, like, really good.
Really good.
And that's a friend of ours, Katie.
It's a very good album.
It's a very, very solid album that... it's a solid album that also, like, from a personal standpoint, because we get to witness it, has brought along some really awesome memes that she keeps posting on Facebook.
Right.
Like, the confusion that people have... Oh my god, what was the one? Someone was, like, mocking the name and how stupid the Owlbear was. And Katie's response was basically something like, oh no, as if this creature hasn't existed since the 1980s. As if metal isn't already overrun by fantasy.
Yeah. I think they were, like, making some sort of comment about it being, like, a character, like a monster in, like, a more recent RPG game. Like a video game.
Oh, maybe. And it's like, no, this is nothing. And it's like,
no, you ignorant shit. This thing has been around, like, in D&D since the 80s or whatever.
Yeah, this thing's old. This is not a new concept.
Speaking of metal that I'm giving the thumbs up to this year, possible two for album of the year is Baroness Stone and Primordial How It Ends.
Oh, okay.
Just really like them. It's one of those things. I don't have a whole lot to say about Primordial. They did another album that is fairly in line with, like, the last couple that they've done, but yeah. It's, again, you know, sometimes when you're doing something well, you don't really need to change it up too much.
There's a certain point where, like, you don't need to do too much. I mean, you don't want to do it for 40 years, but if you're doing it well, keep doing it.
And they add their twists to every album.
They're not purely AC/DC.
Baroness did a great twist. They produced an album I can listen to without wanting to put a nail through my ears because of the production.
They produced an album that isn't recorded on a cassette player.
Oh my god! I remember the insult to cassette players.
I remember the time you made me listen to some of their stuff back to back, and yeah, the difference is the difference sure is. Speaking of other metal bands who did some good things.
Yeah.
Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
Dance Devil Dance very early last year.
I have that in my okay section.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not blowing my mind. But here's the thing with them is they are one of those artists that I almost exclusively listen to their The King Live in Paris album from 2019. Yeah. I think they just sound bigger, thicker, fuller live. So even though Dance Devil Dance is a pretty solid album, and Avatar Country was a pretty solid album, it just doesn't do the same. It's just not the same for me, man.
You know what? You got to learn the new song so you can be ready when the live album comes out.
I know. But I want another live album, and it has a duet with Lizzie Hale, which is always kind of cool because she's phenomenal. But I don't like a lot of her music. If that, you know what I mean?
That's kind of how I feel about it. Cannibal Corpse, again, good album, kind of typical of what they do. Another kind of smaller band, High Spirits, and one band that I want to give a thumbs up to is In Flames, Foregone. They still have a little too much core influence on the new album for my taste, but it's hard to argue with people saying that this is their best album in over 20 years because it's the only one I haven't turned off in over 20 years. So good job.
Good job. They did it.
You did it.
Okay.
Boris in Uniform was also good.
How about albums that we did turn off? Because Queens of the Stone Age released an album called In Times New Roman.
Yeah.
And it's Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah, you loved it.
I don't think I listened to it in its entirety ever.
Didn't
you know who else
I listened
released
to one track.
You know who else released an album? Hold on, real quick. You know who else released an album that I'm not even sure if I listened to the whole way through? Was the Foo Fighters. They also released an album that certainly is super generic alternative rock.
Yeah,
so they're doing great.
What I heard of them put them in the this is fine section. I only have one band in the this sucks section. It's Code Orange, the above.
I just don't
think they're my thing. I don't get Swans still. People just tell me Swans is so good, and I just keep listening to it and not getting it.
Did you listen to the new Oomph?
No.
Richter und Henker.
No.
So they released an album in September.
Yeah.
So if you want the band that probably, as far as I am aware, influenced Rammstein quite a bit. Oomph is from that same Neue Deutsche Harte realm. Especially with all the shit that Rammstein got themselves into. You know, if you want a replacement, Oomph is pretty damn cool.
Okay.
So I recommend it. It's not like a mind-blowing thing, but honestly, neither did Rammstein. Like, they're one of those bands that for every song I like, there's 5 that I forget exist.
I'm just gonna do some rapid fire thumbs up. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was kind of running through here.
Mountain Goats, Jenny from Thebes. Thumbs up. Good album.
Thumbs up. Not blowing my mind anyway, but yeah, thumbs up.
I don't think they're gonna blow my mind at this point. They've become a jam band, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. All right.
Church, I get everything. I think everyone gets to have one jam band, and they've forced their way into that position because I didn't start liking them when they were a jam band, but it's what they've become. And now I don't have to pretend that I like.
And now you're committed.
The Grateful Dead. Yeah, I don't have to pretend I like the Grateful Dead now because I have one. I don't have to pretend Fish is good. I have my jam band. It's right.
Yeah,
here.
there you go.
Yeah. Church of Misery, Under a Bad Sign. Thumbs up. Good album. Poppy, Zig. Pretty good. It's not my favorite by her, but good.
Okay.
Nita Strauss, Call of the Void is alright.
Call of the Void is alright. It's a fine album. Nita
Good
Strauss is phenomenal, but it's not original music that I'm really going to rush back to all the time. John Lindberg Trio, album's called Are You For Real? It's very rockabilly-esque. Solid album. Nothing blowing my mind, but solid. Good time.
Good time. Black Braid 2, good album. Pretty good album. Here's a weird one. Andre 3000, New Blue Sun. What'd you think of the flute?
I think it's weird. I think I'll never listen to it again, but I'm glad he's happy.
I kind of agree. I could see me using it as sleep music, actually, though.
Yeah, but see, I need to sleep to something more intense than that because I have a problem. So I need to sleep listening to people talk, so I can't really do that. How about Max Cruz, Heatwave? Again, more synthwave stuff. Max Cruz is pretty solid. He does a good job always being kind of funky, kind of saxy, too. He does some fun stuff. Max Cruz, good time. Kingstone, Kingfish Ingram. I didn't put this in my top 10 list because it's a live album and I exclude those.
Okay. Well, we're doing thumbs up. If you got one, I'm doing the middling hand motion. If there's any for that, that's our next section. So just do thumbs up.
I'm just rushing through what they are.
Oh, okay.
Thumbs up. And Batmobile, Brace for Impact. Again, another rockabilly album. Thumbs up. It's a good time.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm doing the hand motion again, the middling hand motion. But I think this will be controversial for you because some of these you had high praise for at the beginning of the year, and some I know that you're going to hate.
Oh, no. Okay.
So, first one is Gorillaz Cracker Island, which it's a shame to see them on the middling list. But I just wasn't into that album.
Yeah, all right.
VV, Neon Noir, pretty good, but not entirely.
Okay.
Here's one that you're gonna... You might hit me for was King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
How are you giving?
I thought it was alright.
What hand motion? You're giving?
I'm doing the middling hand motion.
No,
Pentadragon on.
No, I'm gonna sign off.
kind of heavy.
I'm gonna sign off.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. I kind of liked it.
Nope, gonna sign off. Doja Cat. No, Doja Cat. Doja Cat. We need to talk about Doja Cat. Doja Cat released an album called Scarlet. Most of it's meh. But Agora Hills is probably the best like pop hip hop song of the past year.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there. Bare Naked Ladies released an album called In Flight.
Oh,
it's meh. It's okay.
That was a pretty meh album. That was pretty good. That was pretty meh. That was pretty fine.
It was pretty meh.
All right. It was all right.
It was all right.
Pretty all right. What I heard was pretty all right. At least I got a couple came up on shuffle. I think that shuffle is cheating, by the way, because sometimes the same songs keep like when I start it, the same songs will like be front loaded, and I'll be like, "There's a whole ass other album to this." You don't have to keep playing
yeah.
the same songs from the album. I thought it was cheating because it kept playing U2, and then I found out that album was 40 fucking songs. So I guess that
no, it's not. It's not cheating. It just sucks.
No. West Borland, Mutiny on Star Barge. It was fine. Obituary, Dying of Everything is pretty alright. Camelot, The Awakening is alright, but they didn't really do anything to remind me that they were anything other than, the person who's dating the chick from Epica. Godflesh, The Purge, I still don't entirely get Godflesh, I guess, but it was alright. Sabaton put out a fine Sabaton album that sounds like all the other Sabaton albums.
Did you oh, go ahead, sorry.
And Bellwitch, The Clandestine Gate, maybe you don't need to release just one song that's like an hour and a half long, but it's alright, it's fine.
Did you ever get around to listening to Wes Borland's Mutiny on the Star Barge?
That was the first one I said, I think.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was in there.
I'm sorry. You've been cutting in and out a little bit on me. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I must have missed that. Chris, I think I've covered pretty much. I mean, other than things I have really nothing else to say. I think I'm wiped out here.
Yeah, no, there were a bunch of things that I didn't get around to that, it sounds like I didn't miss much with Queens of the Stone Age, and I probably won't go back to it.
I've always thought they were garbage, so that's not really saying much. My opinion is absolutely biased.
Yeah, there are a couple things that I unfortunately, still need to catch up on. There's some Silosis.
Yeah.
I'm gonna someday just, gouge my ears out while Godsmack plays.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, so and now mind you, I probably forgot to add albums to this because I always do, but my new albums of 2023 playlist is 118 hours long, so
that's pretty good.
It was a lot, but there's not. I don't always have something to say about it. So
yeah, that's pretty good. Mine was 90 hours.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, pretty good. But I'll tell you what, man, I got 3 2024 playlists going already. How about you?
How do you have 3? I only have 1. Why would you need 3?
I have 1 of entire albums that I'm interested in. I have my hype playlist that is just singles for albums that aren't out yet. And I have music that Top 40 tells me I should like, but I'm never going to, but I'm curious.
Oh, see, I just put them all in one album, and then what I do... Sorry, squeaky chair moment.
No, that's okay.
Like, the singles and stuff, before the album is fully out...
Yeah.
I put the singles in the playlist, and I delete them when the album comes out.
I started off doing that, Jeff, and my 2024 playlist of songs that I want to listen to is already like 10 hours long. I don't know how this happened. But anyways, I got my 2024 hype playlist, which is actually looking pretty hype. There's Judas Priest on it. A new Bruce Dickinson dropped earlier today, and I'll tell you what, Jeff, it is going to blow the last Iron Maiden album out of the water. I don't care if it's heresy. I'm going to say it.
Okay. If you say so.
Jeff, this man knows how to trim songs. His version, he has a song on this upcoming album called Eternity Has Failed, which he has come out and said is he wrote a song on a previous Iron Maiden album called If Eternity Shall Fail for this album and recorded it with Iron Maiden, and this is how he originally wrote it. It's like a minute and a half fucking shorter. He knows that these songs need edited, and he just lets Steve do what he wants. There is not a song on this album that's coming out that breaks 10 minutes. He knows.
Oh.
The longest song is 9:51, and it's significantly the longest song, and the second longest is 7:02, and after that, they barely break 6 minutes.
Okay.
So, and the new song sounds good.
Okay. I will take your word for it. I will listen to the album when it comes out, but I'm not going to jump the gun on it.
I'm telling Jeff, I know I know it's not the thing I'm supposed to say, but I think solo Bruce Dickinson is a lot of times better than Iron Maiden.
I mean, I see nothing wrong with that, though.
That's not. But see,
I realize I know that's like a problem in the fan community, but like I'm not part of that really. So
I say that, and people look at it like I'm insulting Iron Maiden sometimes. I think, and it's like I'm not. I'm just like they have some incredible stuff, and they put out some of my favorite albums, and sometimes Bruce Dickinson is better solo. Like, sorry. I got Static X. I'm ready for that. Ready to see how they
I'm curious about that one.
Because do they still have more of his tracks, or is this the
no
first
idea?
One where they're...
No idea. I haven't looked yet.
All right. So this is going to be a big year. New PODs coming. Any minute now. Maybe that Smash Mouth album will come out. Who knows? God, we could talk about Green Day. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
I have, and I actually would be curious. It doesn't need to be an episode, but I'm curious about your thoughts whenever you have the time to get to it.
Yeah, I have listened to the new Saxon. I thought it was, as the review said, it's not changing the landscape of music, but it's a pretty solid addition to the catalog. That's how I imagine reviewers on the internet talk.
Again, no one's anyone who's expecting them to to change things is crazy.
And then, I have a bunch of hipster shit that no one's heard of, metal, like Lord Dying and, Master. It would be great. It's always nice. It's always nice when you're, like, kind of digging a new album, and then the next, like, song title is Chemtrails. I'm looking at you, Final Coil, but I'm also looking at you, Anvil, from a couple years ago.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, no.
I lost my train of thought. So
that's fine. I apologize. There was a moderate emergency as I sent you this lovely picture of what looks like a reaction to nail polish remover.
It sure does.
It sure does. Why are children?
Why are children?
I don't know.
Many of us ask that every day, and the only thing I'm asking is, Jeff, take me home. I'm tired.
I'm tired. Oh, there's that Smiths song, "Sing Me to Sleep." I'm tired and I want to go to bed.
Wait, Jeff. Wait, do you know it? Can you sing it, and then I'll fade out, and that'll be the ending? Like you're drifting off to sleep, listener.
Give me half a second here to make sure I don't want to. God, I don't want to misquote Morrissey.
Yeah, you would really hate to do. God, I gotta tell you, Jeff. This year, actually. I've never been a big Smiths listener, but they kept coming up on like playlists and stuff. So I tried to give Smiths more of a chance this year, and I'm kind of okay with it. But Morrissey just even sings like a douchebag.
Dude, I hate how much I love the Smiths. It's embarrassing because they are hard to like because of Morrissey being.
Well, they hate him too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's happening?
What
are we doing?
I don't know, man. I think we're gonna
sing me to sleep, sing me to sleep. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Sing to me, sing to me. I don't want to wake up on my own anymore. Don't feel bad for me. I want you to know. Fade out somewhere in there.
That's pretty good. I gotta tell you, it's better than my Morrissey impression. I've been working on it though. Punctured bicycle on this desolate hillside. Will nature make a man of me yet? I would go out tonight, but I haven't got a stitch to wear.